At home, you are probably a patient, polite person who lets someone merge in traffic without a second thought. But from the moment your shoes touch the airport drop-off curb, a primal, defensive creature wakes up inside your brain. Suddenly, someone standing completely still on the left side of a moving walkway feels like a direct, personal declaration of war. We joke about airport mode, the $18 breakfast beers, the frantic checking of your passport every 90 seconds, the uncontrollable urge to stand up the exact second the plane ding sounds at the gate. But what actually happens inside your skull when you enter an airport terminal? Why does this specific building turn reasonable human beings into anxious, irritable survivalists? The first culprit is the ticking clock. In everyday life, most deadlines have soft boundaries. If you are 4 minutes late to brunch, brunch still happens. If you are 4 minutes late to Flight 412 to Atlanta, the steel doors are locked, the jet bridge retracts, and your entire trip collapses into a $900 customer service nightmare. When your brain perceives a hard, irreversible deadline with high financial and emotional consequences, your amygdala flags the entire environment as a threat zone. The amygdala doesn't know you are going to a bachelorette party in Cabo. It only knows that missing this gate equals disaster. So it dials your threat detection sensitivity up to maximum. At home, your brain runs on autopilot. You know where your keys live, how long the coffee maker takes, and which lane moves fastest on the highway. Routine saves massive amounts of cognitive glucose. An airport removes every single routine shortcut. Terminal 3 or Terminal B? Concourse D? Where's security? Did the gate change? Is this line for TSA pre-check or clear? Every sign you read, every arrow you follow, and every flight monitor you scan forces your prefrontal cortex to do active manual calculations. By the time you reach the security checkpoint, you have already spent 3 hours of executive function. Then comes TSA security, the ultimate biological stress test. Anthropologist Edward T. Hall coined the term proxemics to describe the invisible bubbles of personal space humans require to feel safe. In public, strangers normally keep about 4 to 12 feet of distance. Security lines violently compress that bubble down to 0. You are standing 12 inches from a total stranger with your shoes off, your belt unbuckled, your laptop in a plastic bin, while uniformed officers shout instructions over a loudspeaker. Your nervous system interprets this physical vulnerability and crowd density as an acute loss of physical safety. This explains why you experience irrational rage when someone stops suddenly in the middle of the terminal concourse to look at their phone. In psychology, this is known as the fundamental attribution error, amplified by time panic. You don't see an innocent person checking a text. Your stressed brain sees an obstacle actively stealing your survival margin. Once you clear security, your brain enters the bizarre economic ecosystem of the departures lounge. Why do people happily pay $14 for a lukewarm bottle of water and a crushed sandwich? It is not just airport price gouging, it is ego depletion. When your prefrontal cortex is exhausted from navigating security and managing time anxiety, your ability to resist impulsive spending plummets. Your subconscious mind wants immediate comfort and dopamine to counteract the cortisol surge, so the $12 bag of trail mix feels like essential emotional medicine. Then comes boarding and the creation of the infamous gate lice. These are the passengers in Group 7 who stand directed in front of the boarding scanner, while Group 1 is being called, blocking the entire walkway. Why do people do this, even when they have an assigned seat that isn't going anywhere? Because the seat is guaranteed, but the overhead bin space is not. Airlines created an artificial scarcity game for carry-on luggage. Your brain recognizes that if the bins fill up, your bag gets gate-checked, creating friction and delay at baggage claim. The urge to crowd the gate is an evolutionary scramble for scarce resources in a crowded pack. Layered over all of this is chronic sensory pollution, the metallic hum of conveyor belts, the screech of electric carts, endless loudspeaker chimes, neon duty-free billboards, and fluctuating climate control. Your sensory processing circuits are bombarded from every direction with zero quiet gaps. Perhaps the deepest psychological trigger at an airport is the complete surrender of agency. You have no control over weather delays, mechanical maintenance, crew timing, or gate assignments. For high-agency individuals who control their daily work and schedule, this total powerlessness triggers intense baseline anxiety. Understanding the neurology of the airport gives you the blueprint to diffuse it. The goal isn't to eliminate airport friction. It is to protect your prefrontal cortex from burning out before you even step onto the airplane. The single most effective psychological hack is adding a non-negotiable 45-minute buffer beyond what you think you need. When your estimated arrival time sits 90 minutes before boarding rather than 20 minutes, the amygdala's countdown panic never triggers. A slow walker ceases to be a threat because they aren't stealing your bait margin. Wear active noise-canceling headphones the moment you step out of the car. Cutting the low-frequency ambient terminal rumble drops baseline heart rate variability strain by over 20%, preserving your nervous system for the actual flight. Unless you are carrying medical gear or fragile equipment, resist the urge to join the gate crowd. Sit in a quiet chair, let groups 1 through 5 board, and walk onto the plane at the very end. The 4 extra minutes of sitting in a quiet seat preserves far more sanity than fighting for an overhead compartment. The next time you feel that surge of irritation in Terminal B, remember, everyone around you is running the same exhausted, high-alert operating system. Give yourself grace, give the slow walker space, and remember that in a few hours, you will be exactly where you plan to be.